Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Dracula Blood Hunt #1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics. Let's talk about the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Danny Laurie with art by Vincenzo Caratu, David Curiel on colors, letters by Joe Sabino, with a beautiful cover by Rod Reese. I love Rod Reese. He's a fantastic artist. So this is uh, a Blood Hunt tie-in. As you can see, editor's note: this all takes place before Blood Hunt #2, but some of it does take place after Blood Hunt #1. Also, if you got a chance to read the Blood Hunt free comic book day special, you'll know that Dracula was coming. We also have a Bloodline, who is Brielle Brooks, Blade's daughter. She was also very much in the mix. So let's see what's going on in this issue. All will bow to the Lord of Vampires. Blade is Dracula's ultimate nemesis, the most formidable vampire hunter in the world. Blade is Brielle Brooks' father, the man who's training her to follow his footsteps. But during the blood hunt, when the day is night and all is not as it appears, these enemies may find their interests, however briefly aligned, for the fate of humanity. Now, interested that Dracula is interested in the fate of humanity, but I think Dracula understands that this is not his doing. Whatever is happening, whoever's leading the vampires, um, is doing it without his consent, his approval, and this is not going to fly with Dracula. So it's really as simple as that. We get, first of all, Danny Laurie does a really great job at catching up the reader as to who's Dracula, what's going on, who's Brielle, like all that stuff. And within a few pages, you get a lot of really very simple, high level exposition. Also, Karatu does a great job with the look of specifically Dracula, because Dracula's wearing like one of the coolest armors I've ever seen. I mean, Dracula just looks cool, but also Brielle has a really interesting look. We get to see her interact with some of her friends, and we get a little bit of an understanding of how her powers work. She's only half vampire, so her powers activate. So, unlike Blade, she's not specifically just a daywalker. It seems that her powers really only activate at night, because as the sun was going away on the sun death event that happened in Blood Hunt, she continued to get stronger and stronger, right? She talks about that. So I think, Danny Laurie does a good job at just making sure to give you all those highlights, so you understand how does her powers work. What is Dracula's plan, and why has he been looking for Brielle? And then why are they going to work together for this? So let's pull up some of the preview art here. First of all, as I mentioned, Dracula just looks like a menace. He looks great. I love the outfit. It's very reminiscent of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the red armor that we see in the film. We also see that Dracula has a spy embedded, following Brielle, following these other vampires. And we also know that Dracula does not leave any loose ends here, as the spy is just, killed. Then we catch up in Atlanta with Brielle and her friends. And this is kind of where we get a little bit of her background. So, yeah, great job. I think Karatu does some really fun sequences, great paneling, some really interesting way to just make sure to pace out the story in a way that it doesn't feel very bogged down by all the exposition. And then, of course, when things have to get bloody, they really, really work out. So, hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Avengers issue #14. This is a Blood Hunt tie-in, and that's the reason that I'm reading this. I can tell you now, you can definitely jump into this without having been caught up on the Avengers. Uh, and I think the team very smartly does that. So let's talk about the creative team. Speaking of that, Blood Hunt Part 1 is written by Jed McKay with art by C.F. Villa, Federico Blee, and Corey Petit. So this is just the name of the arc in the Avengers book. And as you can see the note, this story takes place during the events of Blood Hunt #1. So this is going on at the same time as Blood Hunt #1. So you can read this. Probably you probably want to read this after Blood Hunt, just so that you understand the context of everything that's going on. But let's get into it. So uh, the new team up debuts. So we have a new Avengers roster. Obviously, the Avengers, if you read Blood Hunt, spoilers, they were taken out very handily in that Blood Hunt issue. With the current Avengers tied up and under siege during Blood Hunt, Captain Marvel calls for aid, and who better to assemble a new team of Avengers than Steve Rogers? Captain America gathers the forces of Quicksilver, who has a lot invested in this because his sister, the Scarlet Witch, is currently being attacked by by the Blood Brotherhood, I think they're called. Um, Hawkeye, Hercules, and a hero that I'm not very familiar with, Hazmat, who has radiation powers. So I think that helps out with, like, tweaking. I think she can shoot different spectrums of radiation, including UV. So that'll definitely take out vampires. So they all gather together to take on the hordes of vampire attacking all over the world. And when they encounter an organized army of vampires in uniform led by a surprise villain, things get very personal. So that really doesn't happen till closer to the end of the issue. So I won't go into that. I don't want to spoil anything other than really the preview pages that we have. So um, this was really fun. Like I mentioned, first of all, very accessible as a issue 14 of a series. This is really kind of like Blood Hunt 1.5, right? It's a tie-in that really works. There's two types of tie-ins. There are tie-ins that have nothing to do with the story. They're just a story that's happening at the same time. So they have a theme in common with the event. But this one, to me, feels very concurrent. Like it's all happening at the same time. You really probably want to read both of these series together. If you're only gonna read one of the tie-ins, the Avengers one is probably the one you want to check out. The one for Dracula is also very good. We have a review for that on the channel as well. I'll make a list of like which ones are crucial to read, which ones you should read, and which ones you can probably ignore. We'll keep track of that. Maybe we'll put it on the community page. But anyways, as far as this issue, yeah, Jed McKay, I love the way he writes Captain America. I love that Steve's the one that has to put this team together. And they do a really cool thing. Let me pull up some preview art and I'll show you. They do a really cool thing where all these heroes kind of introduce themselves very naturally as they kind of arrive on the scene. We see Captain America here. He's put out the call with the Avenger ID cards, which I just love that as a gadget in the Marvel universe. Uh, Captain America chimes in. He has his own. Everybody has their own little speech bubble color as well for their narration, and he gives you a brief overview in one page. So very effectively, very efficiently, uh, you know, the creators give you a one-page like overview of what's going on. Why is Captain America putting out the call? Then on the next page, a one-cap recap of who is Captain America. Then Hercules shows up, and you also get a little bit of a recap for him. We get one from Hawkeye and K Bishop, and then we also get one from Quicksilver. We also get one. I don't have a page for it in the preview, but we also get one for Hazmat, and that's where you kind of learn. So Hazmat is the only one that actually says her name as she comes into the scene. Because I feel like all the other ones are pretty recognizable heroes. So the team was definitely it's very funny that the team was aware that maybe Hazmat is not the most known superhero. So I really enjoy this issue. Like I said, I think this is not I won't say required reading. You can probably read Blood Hunt on your own, but this will give you so much context, right? This is also being written by Jed McKay, so of course it's going to give you a lot more than you want. So uh, hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Doctor Strange number 15. This is a Blood Hunt tie-in. So a lot of the reviews that we're doing this week are related to Blood Hunt from Marvel. We'll probably make a little playlist maybe. So let's get into it. Warning, you must read Blood Hunt number 1 before getting into this issue. Take that warning very seriously. Uh, this is written by Jed McKay with art by Pasquale Ferry, Heather Moore on colors, letters by Corey Petit. Main cover by Alex Ross, which is outstanding. I love it. I love the look of Doctor Strange with his little vampire teeth. Uh, and then we also have a few other covers that you'll see at the end of the video. So, what's going on here? This issue takes place like right at the end of Blood Hunt number one. So you definitely want to check that out because there's a big spoiler here. So if you haven't read Blood Hunt number one, don't even watch the rest of this video. Just leave us a like and a comment and get out of here and go read some comics. But let me give you a quick synopsis. Picking up immediately after the shocking events of Blood Hunt number one, Doctor Strange and Clea must help the heroes of Earth fight back against the vampire army. But is it already too late for our Sorcerer Supreme? So, if you don't remember and you haven't left, and for whatever reason you want to be spoiled, Doctor Strange is, depending on which version of Blood Hunt you read, Doctor Strange is stabbed by Blade. In the red band version, he's actually cut in half. But we see that Blade is revealed to be behind all the attacks, right? He's the one that's kind of leading this vampire army. We don't know the motivations. They're not explained in this issue. I think that'll be revealed in the main storyline. They wouldn't do that, something like a big reveal like that on a separate issue, right? But this issue just really focuses on what's going on in the Sanctum Sanctorum. So let me pull up some of the preview art so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is pretty much another version of the last few pages of the Blood Hunt issue, where Blade comes in, uh, supposedly asking for help, and he just stabs Doctor Strange. Then he bites him and turns him into a vampire. But also drinking his blood has given him some magic power, so he's able to fend Clea and able to kind of escape. So then, for the rest of the issue, we have Clea trying to, first of all, not get killed by Blade, and then also make sure that, maybe see what she can do for Steve, who's been turned into a vampire. I think the creative team, the art team, just really nailed the vibes of the magic. I think that looks very cool. Also, just I love how bright the blood splattering is. Like, just it almost looks unnatural, but it really works. I think for the story, and then I just really like seeing. I forget Clea because she is Dormammu's daughter. Like, I think she's from the dark dimension. So the fact that whenever she uses her powers, she does have that more demonic look. I don't remember. Now I'm a little worried that she's not their mama's daughter, but I'm pretty sure she is. So yeah, that was really cool. I really enjoyed this issue. This one, I will say, it's not required reading. I'm kind of trying to put a playlist together of like what's required reading, what stuff you should read, because I think it's just really good. It adds a lot of good context. And then what are some things that you can probably skip because it's a lot of times for a Blood Hunt. But this one, although I don't think it's required reading, I would definitely recommend you read it if you want to know a little bit more about what's going on. Especially Doctor Strange feels like it's going to be a very big part of this. This is also being written by Jed MacKay, who's the main writer. So I would say anything written by Jed MacKay when it comes to Blood Hunt, you probably want to check it out because I feel like he's using the Avengers title, The Vengeance of the Moon Knight, and this Doctor Strange title as ancillary issues to kind of maybe put out some of the ideas that might have been too big to fit in the main event. So I don't know. I hopefully that's how it works, but I'm not sure. So hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for X-Men Forever number 3. This is a new book from Marvel Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team here. We have Kieran Gilling as the writer. We have Luca Maresca on art, Federico Blee on colors, letters by Clem Cowles. Beautiful cover by Mark Brooks. We'll see some other covers at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. So, in this issue, now, War in Krakoa, a hunt in the White Hot Room, and a heartwarming family reunion, by which we mean possibly involving setting fire to someone with a flamethrower. This is spinning out of the rise of powers of 10 and Immortal X-Men. comes a must read for the conclusion of the Krakoan Age. So, what this X-Men Forever book's been doing is filling in some of the gaps that maybe Karen Gillan still has a little bit of story for in the book Rise of Powers of 10. But obviously, because there's only a set limit of pages, so they move some of those stories here. I will say this is probably a difficult book to get into if you're not caught up on everything that's going on. Like, it's very convoluted. Like, even as I read it, and I've been catching up on everything, it still makes it pretty difficult to sometimes get a hold of what's going on the first read. Luckily, Marvel gives you a quick guide first. So we have in this book Destiny, Mystique, Mr. Sinister, Mother Righteous, Hope, Exodus, Cypher, Sebastian Shaw, Ascani, Manifold, and Nightcrawler. So we have a cast of characters, so you can at least figure out what's going on, who's all there. Um, that being said, this book is pretty freaking great. I love what Karen Gillan's been doing with the X-Men. I think he just really has some fun stories to tell. He understands the dynamics between some of these characters and also has expanded on some of that. We get to see again my boy Cypher. He's finally back after being taken by Krakoa to protect him. And this is really all out war kind, like there's it just really really brings you into the heart of Krakoa, almost to the mutants' last stand. So definitely feels like things were building up, and now they're here for a really, really interesting conclusion. So yeah, if you're reading Karen Gillan's X-Men stuff, you have to read. This is a must read. Um, Luca Maresca's on art, like I really love the paneling, that some of the scenes that are the way they're set up, the point of view. So let me pull up some of the preview art so you can see what I'm talking about here. I specifically love this angle from Cypher's point of view right after he emerges. The character designs are super cool. I really love seeing Exodus and Apocalypse back in the fold. And yeah, I just really, really cool stuff. Like so many little details. As you can see, somebody's coming out of one of the cocoons as the Sentinels begin to attack. And this sequence of the characters communicating telepathically, it's so much fun. Sebastian Shaw always ready for something to go wrong, and always playing all the angles. I think that's one of the most Shaw things, that if you've learned anything through this Krakoan Age, is that that's what this character is all about. But he is able to probably get away. You're just gonna have to read to find out. Also, a lot of family drama with Mystique, with Destiny. Like there's a lot going on. They have a lot of unresolved conflict, right? I think Destiny or Mystique feels like Destiny's been holding out on her, so their relationship, it's a little bit rocky at the time. But great stuff. I really really enjoyed this book. Hopefully we get to have some finality with some of these characters and some of these relationships and events. So hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Blood Hunters. This is another Blood Hunt tie-in from Marvel Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team here. We have three different stories. One of them is a Hawkeye story, The City That Never Weeps, written by Mark Russell, with art by the magnificent Bob Quinn, Matt Miller on colors. We also have Blood Relations. This is the Man Wolf story, J. Jonah Jameson Jr., by Christos Gage, with art by Javier Garron and Murray Hollowell on colors. And then we have one that will continue throughout this. We have Once More Into the Darkness, Part 1. This is about Tandy, who is she's Dagger from Cloak and Dagger, written by Erica Schultz with art by Bernard Chang, colors by Marcelo Maiolo. So, of course, this is all takes place during the Blood Hunt event, so I would definitely recommend you check out Blood Hunt #1 to at least get an idea of what's going on in this world. We have a lot of other videos for Blood Hunt issues that came out, and we'll keep talking about Blood Hunt throughout the week, so stay tuned for that. Um, let's get into it. So let's talk about the first story here. So let me pull up some preview art. Bob Quinn is a fantastic artist. If you haven't read Kill Your Darlings from Image, you should go check it out. But yeah, Bob Quinn, I love that Hawkeye is on the run, so he grows a mustache, and just Quinn's art is just really fun. Very very animated, right? It feels like that. But then when you get down to it and you see like a vampire, like it also can be very jarring and shocking. So yeah, Bob Quinn's really good at maintaining both of those aspects of it. And of course, Mark Russell is he's such a fun writer. He writes, he can do superheroes with a little bit of comedy, a little bit of parody, and it's just really really fun stuff. But also, there's always usually a little like message behind it. This one's kind of cool. Like this one's all about New Yorkers standing up for themselves in the midst of like all this stuff going on with the vampires. So that's very very cool. Really fun story. Highly recommend it. Next, let's talk about the werewolf, the man wolf story. So we see J. Jonah Jameson and J. Jonah Jameson Jr. here as they are attacked by vampires. I don't know much about Man Wolf. Like I haven't read much of him. I just know that that's who he is from previous comics. But the design looks super cool. Like I really like not only the vamp. He's fighting different types of vampires, right? It's not these are not just like your run of the mill vampires. These are like more evolved. But at the bottom of this story, or like at the behind the surface of all this, we do have a story about a J. Jonah Jameson and how he feels about his son. And obviously, Manwolf doesn't really come out much. So it's really interesting to see him in this. Obviously, J. Jonah Jameson has a uh, conflicting feelings, I'll say, about superheroes and metahumans and stuff like that. So obviously, his son being one of them, that's very interesting to see as well. And then let's take a look at the last story with Dagger. I really like Erica Scholz. Like her writing is just so much fun. She really understands superheroes and puts them in really, really fun situations. If you read Blood Hunt #1, you'll know that because Cloak uses powers from this dark dimension, he's disappeared, and now Tandy has to find them. Like they are a team, they are friends, they are uh, pretty much partners in crime and all this, and yeah. Oh, not all. So you get to see Dagger taking out a bunch of vampires, but also trying to figure out how to get her friend back, which is super cool. So yeah, great stuff. Like I said, that is the one story that is a part one of multiple. So make sure to come back because we'll probably keep talking about this in the future. So another great Blood Hunt tie-in. Now, is this a must read? I don't think it's a must read as far as like the story, the story itself, the larger Blood Hunt story, but it is a fun read. So this is what I would call, as far as tie-ins, it's not crucial that you read it to understand the full event, but I do recommend you read it if you have the extra bandwidth. So hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Wolverine number 48. This one is a little bit behind, so you will have two Wolverine reviews for this week. But let's talk about this issue specifically and the creative team. This issue is written by Benjamin Percy and Victor Lavalle with art by Corey Smith, Oren Jr. on inks, Alex Sinclair on colors, letters by Corey Petit. I really love the cover, although it's very symbolic of what happens in the book. It's not exactly what's going on in the book, right? So we have a few things. Wolverine's been uh he was able to get away from Victor Creed from Sabretooth. The other Sabretooth variants from other multiverses have brought in another Sabretooth that seems to be like the final form. It looks like there's going to be some disagreement as to which Sabretooth comes out on top. Logan's powers are on the fritz. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, Laura Kinney is just crawling her way out of a rampage, out of the Sabretooth ship as they go into Krakoa. So a lot of really cool stuff. I think this has been one of the most exciting books. Pretty gnarly too, like a lot of violence, a lot of gore, as you would expect from a Wolverine book. especially anything that Wolverine and Sabretooth are involved. It's going to be a bloody mess. So let's take a look at some of the preview art here. I really enjoyed both artists on this book. I think the going back and forth on the duties really helps you keep some of those things straight. As you can see here, I was talking about Laura Kinney just like tearing shop as she's kind of in a bit of a tight spot, but she's able to kind of get away. She allows the Sentinels to identify Sabretooth or the ship, and as you can see, she took down the female version of Sabretooth quite handily in the last issue. But as we catch up with Logan, his powers are on the fritz. We don't know exactly what's going on. He doesn't have a healing factor at the moment, so he's got to heal old school. We also have the Exiles who are still helping him out. That's really Victor Lavalla's strong suit, I think, writing this group of characters that he's been leading for a little while. So, yeah, excellent, excellent stuff. I really can't wait to see where this goes. There's a really neat reveal at the end of this issue that leads us into the other one. So make sure to stay tuned for our review for issue 49. And then, of course, we're going to do a big blow up issue at 50 when the series and the event concludes. So, highly, highly recommend Wolverine fans, Sabretooth fans, and just fans of super violent comics. You probably want to check this one out. So, hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Wolverine number 49. As you know, we've been covering this pretty much for every issue for the Sabretooth War. Uh, as of the release of this video, we did 48 and 49 in the same week. So make sure to check out 48 before looking into this one. Let's talk about the creative team here. This is written by Victor Lavalla and Benjamin Percy with art by Jeff Shaw. Alex Sinclair on colors, letters by Corey Petit. We have a very beautiful cover by Lionel Francis Yu and Romulo Fajardo Jr. featuring the new adamantium armored finally unleashed. Uh, this is really fun stuff. So as we left off in the previous issue, Wolverine has his healing factors on the fritz, so he has to armor up. I don't know if you guys may remember from the all new Marvel Now era or something. Yeah, I think it was maybe about a decade ago that Wolverine lost his healing factor, so he had to wear like an armor like all the way through, and this is very reminiscent of that. I really like the idea of an armor Wolverine. It gives a lot of Silver Samurai vibes too, so that's kind of fun. So in this issue, armor up for the penultimate part of Sabretooth War. Wolverine is powerless but not defenseless. Forge made Logan one last invention, and with the lives of the X-Men and all mutants on the line, it is time to unleash the ultimate weapon. Collector's note featuring the full debut of the adamantium armor. So in the last issue we saw a little bit, which I think that would be called the first cameo. But here we have it in all its glory, as you saw on the cover. So yeah, if you are a collector, maybe this is something you definitely want to pick up. So I've really been enjoying both artists. I think Jeff Shaw really gives you that grittiness that comes with reading a book like this. He's very, very good at drawing. Not only these characters, like the design of these characters really fits for Shaw's art style, but also just the fluidity with their moves, the fights, the environments that they kind of have to be part of. It's really interesting. This is an issue that gives you multiple perspectives. Um, as you saw, Victor Lavalla's name is first, so there's a lot of Sabretooth centric stuff here. I think it's they kind of go back and forth on that as well with the writing duties, right? Victor Lavalla is more of the Sabretooth wielder as far as that. And then Benjamin Percy, of course, been writing Wolverine for a long, long time now. So um, yeah, some really interesting stuff, really cool fights, of course. Well, like I mentioned, the armor looks great, but also Sabretooth is kind of stuck in this mind hole once again. Obviously, not the same as the Krakoan hole, but he's definitely stuck in a prison that he will need to get out of to confront not only Wolverine, but this other Victor Creed that has come from the multiverse. So let's take a look at some of the preview art from Shaw. And as I mentioned, I just really love the design, especially the close-up details of the face in this last panel at the bottom. Um, and then just once again, the environments that have to be drawn here. I love Victor escaping from this little contraption only to like not really do anything. And then once again, just the dynamic movements of this other Victor Creed, or Victor Creed stepping um into this cabin, just ready to fight. I love that. That's a really really cool full page shot. So I can't wait to see how this ends in issue 50. It's probably, I believe it's an oversized issue, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm very excited for that. Very excited to see where this goes in the future. So if you're reading this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments as always. Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.